sponsored by Squarespace. Every year, Apple releases a new iPhone, a new iPad, and maybe even a new Mac. And for the most part, these updates are exactly what you'd expect. Slightly better cameras, slightly faster chips, slightly higher prices. The cycle is familiar, predictable even. But every once in a while, Apple does something different. Something that doesn't just push their existing lineup forward, but hints at something much bigger. An evolution in how we interact with our devices. And right now, we're seeing signs that such a shift is already underway. Because Apple isn't just refining what already exists, they're quietly developing an entirely new generation of products. Not just upgrades, but new categories. These aren't just tweaks to the camera or bumps in performance. These are products that could define the next era of Apple's hardware legacy. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down every major new Apple product that isn't just another regular iPhone, and what it tells us about where Apple is heading next. It looks like Apple is ready to bring their thinness obsession back, but this time, it's on their own terms. Enter the iPhone 17 Air. While the final name might change, the concept is consistent. Apple is reportedly working on its thinnest iPhone ever, possibly even thinner than the iPhone 6, without the issues that plagued that era. This isn't expected to be a budget model. It's not the iPhone SE. This is a premium tier device with a focus on portability, design elegance, and minimalism. A phone that doesn't compete with the Pro line, but complements it, offering a different vision of what a high-end smartphone can be. Think of it like how the MacBook Air sits alongside the MacBook Pro. One isn't absolutely better than the other. They're optimized for different needs. Power users need raw performance. Others prioritize lightness, simplicity, and portability. Leaks suggest that the iPhone 17 Air will feature a brand new chassis design, a rear camera bar, and lighter materials. Internally, it may use the same chip as the Pro models, but scale back slightly on things like camera hardware or display specs. And if that sounds familiar, it should. When Steve Jobs unveiled the original MacBook Air in 2008, it was slow, expensive, and only had one USB port. But what people remember is the envelope it was pulled out of, and the future it pointed toward. Now, let's talk about a very different product line. When Apple announced its $3,500 headset in 2023, it didn't feel like just another product. It felt like a statement. The Vision Pro was positioned not as a VR toy or a gaming headset, but as the first step into something Apple called spatial computing. With custom silicon, twin 4K micro OLED displays, advanced sensors, and a bespoke operating system, Apple wasn't trying to compete with Meta or Sony. They were building a new category entirely. But behind the scenes, Apple was already planning out the next step, a cheaper Vision headset. But before we dive into that, a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you've been thinking about launching a website, whether it's a portfolio, a tech blog, or even a site for your next big idea, Squarespace makes the whole process painless. You don't need to know how to code, you just pick a design, customize it with their drag and drop tools, and you're good to go. One standout feature is their blueprint tool. You describe what the site's for, and it automatically builds the layout tailored to your content. And once you're live, you can use their built-in analytics to see what's working. So whether you're building a store, sharing member-only content, or just starting a personal blog, Squarespace has everything you need. You could try it for free at squarespace.com, and when you're ready to go live, go to squarespace.com/punkwave to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, getting back on topic, according to several analysts and reports, Apple is developing a more affordable mixed reality headset, something that would retail between $1,500 and $2,000. Still pricey, yes, but far more accessible than the Pro. Apple has done this before. The first Apple Watch included a $10,000 Gold Edition model, something that clearly wasn't built for mass appeal. But within a few years, the company had recentered the watch around health, fitness, and affordability. And now, it's the most popular watch in the world. The same thing happened with the iPad. The first was a bold experiment. The second was faster, thinner, cheaper, and that's when the category exploded. A lower-cost Vision headset could be Apple's iPad 2 moment for spatial computing. It likely won't include all the sensors or the ultra-high-end display of the Vision Pro. It might simplify eye tracking, it might have fewer cameras, but the core experience, spatial UI, immersive video, 3D apps, would stay intact. Because that's what Apple is really betting on, the platform. More affordable hardware means more users. More users mean more developers. And more developers mean more apps. It's a long game, but one Apple plays better than almost anyone else. And another long game? Foldables. Samsung, Motorola, and Google have been making foldable phones for quite a while now. Some flip like old clamshells, other open like mini tablets. Each year, they get a little more refined. The creases get smaller, the hinges get better, and the displays get tougher. So where's Apple? They're watching the industry mature and waiting to make their move, because foldables still haven't fully answered the why. Are they for portability, multitasking, tablet replacement? Right now, most foldables feel like cool demos in search of a mainstream use case. And Apple won't release a foldable until they can tell that story with clarity. They'll need a redesigned iOS to support folding behaviors. It's not just about folding a screen, it's about making it feel like an Apple product. Still, patents have surfaced, and prototypes have allegedly been tested. Apple is reportedly exploring both a flip style and book style design, but don't expect a rushed release. Now, let's pivot to the home. While Amazon and Google have been racing to put screens in every room with the Echo Show and Nest Hub, Apple took a different route. They doubled down on audio and privacy with the HomePod. Recent reports suggest Apple is developing a home assistant with a screen, and not just any screen, but one mounted on a robotic arm. It could rotate, swivel, and follow you around in the room. That sounds wild, but the building blocks are already there. Center Stage on iPad tracks your movement. FaceTime adapts to your face. Siri is becoming more proactive. Apple has been quietly layering in spatial awareness for years. This device could take that to the next level. A truly interactive assistant, not just voice activated, but physically reactive. Something that makes computing feel less like tapping a screen and more like a conversation. Privacy concerns will be a challenge, so will figuring out what this thing is for. But if anyone can make an ambient, intelligent, spatially aware device feel useful and inevitable, it's Apple. A more modest version of that, a HomePod with a screen. According to reports, Apple has been testing smart speaker concepts with integrated displays. Think of it as a mini smart hub. Timers, music controls, smart home commands, FaceTime, all in one elegant, privacy-conscious package. They've also explored iPad docking stations that turn your tablet into a smart display when it's not in use. You put it in the dock, and it becomes a shared family screen. With Apple Intelligence still being developed, this could become a natural hub for ambient AI. And finally, there's the iMac Pro, or rather, the hole it left behind. Apple discontinued the original iMac Pro in 2021, and since then, there's been a gap between the standard iMac and the Mac Studio plus display combo. That gap might finally be closing. Leaks point to a new, larger iMac, possibly 30 to 32 inches, featuring M3 Pro or M3 Max chips. A desktop powerhouse with all-in-one simplicity people loved about the original iMac. This wouldn't replace the Mac Studio or MacBook Pro, but it would offer a streamlined, no-fuss workstation for pros who want performance without building a custom setup. And it would mark the final step in Apple's silicon transition, a completely unified, Apple-controlled Mac lineup from top to bottom. Looking at all these products together, a thinner iPhone, a cheaper Vision headset, a folding iPhone, a robotic home assistant, a modular HomePod, and a new iMac Pro, one thing becomes clear. Apple isn't just refining, they're expanding. They're building out the next generation of platforms. Not all of these products will ship. Not every rumor will pan out. But the direction is unmistakable. Apple is preparing for a post-iPhone future, and they're doing it slowly, strategically, and carefully. As always, on their terms.